tonight teaching through this book called Leading Worship. And my prayer is that it will be a blessing to you. And again, I want to say thank you for being here. The first section is titled A Wounded Heart. When I was in elementary school one day, somebody I didn't have a clue who they were, but I grew up in Medicine Lodge, Kansas, and everybody knew everybody in Medicine Lodge. There's 1,200 people and then maybe 1,500 people in the town, and they knew me. I didn't know their name. They stopped me on my way home from school, and they said, "Hey kid, you want this dog?" And it's a little puppy, and I said, "Well, sure." And so I took this dog and I went marching in to my house, and my mother takes one look at me and says, "What is that?" I said, "It's a dog." Now, you have to understand, I don't know who orchestrates. I trust to believe that God orchestrates everything.
Amen.
Yeah. Some people say it was the devil that did this, but on the same day that a stranger gave me a dog, a different family gave my sister a Dachshund. But it was actually the runt of the family. It would hardly resemble a Dachshund. It looked like a Dachshund with long legs, you know. And so when I showed up and my sister showed up the same day with dogs, my mother flipped out, to say the least. And she says, "We do not have dogs in this house." Now, my dad, being the peacemaker he is, I want to say was, but he's still alive in heaven.
Amen.
And he could see that we were all, both my sister and I were devastated. So he began to talk her into letting us keep the dogs. However, my mother drew her new line in the sand when she said, "Fine, but we're not going to keep both dogs." And I was elated because that meant I had a 50-50 chance of keeping my dog. And she looks at me and she says, "We're not keeping that one." And she points to the one I'm holding. I said, "Why not?" She said, "Look at those paws. They're huge. That dog's gonna get to be as big as a horse." And I said, "So?" She says, "We will not have big dogs in this house. We're having the Dachshund." Little did she know the Dachshund would become 30 pounds overweight. But at least the legs were closer.
Sure.
Anyway, so now the issue was that this is a picture of my mother talking on her cell phone.
Cell phone?
Kitchen phone.
It's a joke.
Oh, okay. All right. I got it.
The thing she has in her left hand, that's called roaming. Anyway,
That's the cord, yeah.
so, anyway, what happened to me that day, I didn't remember it for a lot of years. But I tell you what, that wounded me at a level that I could not explain. And what it did to me was drove a wedge between me and my mother. And from that day on, I just despised her. I just wanted to hate her. I disrespected her. I treated her horrible. And by the time I was in high school, I had no idea. I didn't even remember the event. But I treated my mother like dirt. I'm not proud of it. But I mean, even into my 20s, I treated her